Olá! Começa agora mais uma transmissão da RNTI TV, o canal de TV da Revista Nacional da Tecnologia da Informação. E ao longo do nosso programa de hoje, teremos uma entrevista internacional muitíssimo especial, recebendo em nossos estúdios o CEO da empresa vencedora da Copa do Mundo de Startups, organizada pela WITSA, entidade global que congrega as entidades de tecnologia da informação de todo o planeta. Essa startup é liderada por Khairul Anwar, CEO e cofundador da companhia, que atua no setor de tecnologia educacional. Nosso convidado concluiu seus estudos de graduação na América do Norte, na Purdue University, onde desenvolveu uma base sólida em tecnologia e negócios. E depois de trabalhar como funcionário em algumas empresas globais, ele decidiu se aventurar no empreendedorismo junto com alguns amigos do ensino médio. Essa startup, a Pandai, cresceu significativamente nos últimos anos, impactando atualmente centenas de milhares de estudantes, fornecendo-lhes ferramentas de aprendizado envolventes e eficazes. Entretanto, a paixão de nosso convidado pela educação ultrapassa a startup, como fica evidente também com seu envolvimento na Malaysian Computational Thinking Association, seu envolvimento em outras entidades do setor educacional. So, welcome, Khairul. First of all, I'd like to thank you very much for making yourself available for our today's program. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you, Roberto. Pleasure to be here.
Thanks very much. So, let's start with our questions. Khairul, how was it that you got inspired to start Pandai? And what was your original vision for the company since its inception? Did it change since then? Could you tell us a little bit of this story?
Okay, so thank you for Roberto, and thanks again for having me here on RNTI TV. Never have thought that I would be interviewed on a Brazilian media all the way across the world, right? Probably around almost 12 hours difference all the way from Malaysia. Yes, I'm the CEO and founder of Pandai, which is an education app that helps school students to get better in their academics and get better grades in school. So we're primarily based in Malaysia. Our customers are from Southeast Asia, so we have no presence yet in Brazil, nowhere near Brazil yet at the moment. So Pandai is relatively new. We started in 2020, and within a short period of time, now it has grown a lot. Roughly around 1 million students are using Pandai from Southeast Asia and doing quite well. To be honest, we didn't expect Pandai to have grown, this fast. But before starting Pandai, the co-founders and I, we've known each other for quite some time. Actually, there are 4 of us. We've known each other for more than 20 years. We actually went to the same school together when we were young, same batch as well. And then we went on to study abroad, came back to the country, and then we met up again and we decided, hey, let's do something together in education. So Um, Another similarity between the four of us that the four of us had, parents were school teachers. So even though we didn't come from a well-off family, but we were lucky because there was a teacher in the house, right? For example, I myself, my parents were teachers, and I got good access to good material, to good education, to good schools, right? And there was an importance that was put on education in the family. So each one of us each saw how education can actually transform one's life, and we realized that each one of us had passion in education, and that's why we decided to start something together in education. But this was actually some time ago, before Pandai. So before Pandai, the four of us had started another education entity, but it was quite traditional. No education app, no technology. So a lot of face-to-face program, a lot of paper-based program. So we would, use our old car to go to school over the country to do, educational programs, not only in the urban areas, but also in rural areas, places that you can only get to by boat, for example, right? So we've done that along the years, reaching thousands of thousands of students and all that. And then after some time, we realized that there's a lot more we can do, especially with the new technologies, being prevalent, and we decided, hey, let's do something else. So the existing entity that we had before is still running even until today, still doing all the paper-based stuff, all the face-to-face programs. But among the four of us, the co-founder, we decided, hey, let's do something else. Maybe we can reach a lot more students, right, through technology. We don't have to be there physically, right? And because of that, we don't have to charge as high, or we can even do free stuff using technology. And that's why we decided to start a whole new thing, a whole new startup called Pandai. So it's totally separate from our previous entity, but the founders are the same, basically. So that's why we started Pandai. And in the beginning, what we wanted to do is just create an app to help the students. So students would go to school like they normally do, right? But after school, instead of using paper-based stuff, which is non-interactive, no AI, not as fun, they can use our app instead. So that was the only intention in the beginning. But obviously, since then, the vision has changed. Now, more than a million students are already using it. We realized that, okay, now there's a lot more we can do with the community that we have now. So students are already using it. So now the mission is to help as many students as possible. It's not only for, the urban kids or for the rich kids or the excellent kids. It's for all the children out there, not only from Malaysia, but from abroad as well, from neighboring countries in Southeast Asia. And at the same time, now what we're doing is not only helping the students directly, but also completing the ecosystem. So now we do have something for the parent and for the teachers as well. So we launched two new modules. One is called Pandai Parents, the other is Pandai Teachers. So basically, parents and teachers can also register, they have their own ID, they can log in and have specific features to help them to help their children. So now we want to help the complete ecosystem as well. So that's what we've been focusing our effort on lately, expanding Pandai in other markets, at the same time improving the product as well to increase the retention and ultimately help the students. So that's the story of Pandai in a nutshell.
Very nice to know that story.
Yeah.
So, along this way, obviously, you probably faced some or maybe even a lot of challenges building up this application, your company, your business. And I think this experience also in some way has contributed for you to create muscles in order to ensure that Pandai may stay at the forefront of this process in the future. Yeah, I'd like to ask you, which were these challenges? Were they more related to educational aspects? Did you face technical challenges? And due to the current technical outview, what do you think the future will bring for you?
All right. That's a loaded question.
Yeah.
but
Uh-huh.
but yes, obviously, when we first started, it was just us, because it's a whole new entity, right? We faced quite a number of challenges. We started in January 2020, and then, like I said, the intention was to complement what the students were already doing in school, right? So students would go to school, and then after school they will use our app, right? And then 2 months or 2.5 months into Pandai, suddenly the COVID-19 pandemic actually hit the country, right? Not only the country but the whole world basically.
Mm-hmm.
And in our country, there was a lockdown actually. So everyone had to be in their own house. We couldn't go out, and even the schools were closed. Tuition centers were closed. Even bookstores were closed. So students were suddenly, staying at home, and they couldn't go to school. So our app is not meant for that initially, right? It was just to complement what the students were doing in school. So that was actually a disruption to what we were offering, right? But quickly, luckily for us, we quickly, adapted our product a little bit more to ensure that it can help with the home-based learning for students who are learning at home. And then we also, created an offline mode as well, so that students with, intermittent internet access or no internet access in some parts of the country can still use, some parts of Pandai as well. And we try to complete the product with other offerings, other content that can help them even with, this kind of home-based learning during the pandemic, and help the teachers as well during that time. So it was a chaotic time, to be honest. We were fairly new, and at the same time, there's this huge disruption. But luckily for us, we had a lot of help from the people around us, and based on our experience in the education industry before, we could get the right people to help us along the way. That's one huge challenge in the beginning. Another as well related to COVID-19 pandemic is um, um, while we were growing the company, we had to hire people from afar, right? Because we couldn't meet them, right? So in the beginning, it was just us, the co-founders, and then we started hiring people, content developer, the technology developers, even the graphic designers, for example. We started hiring people from different parts of the country, and some parts of the some people from other countries as well. And we then decided, because of the pandemic, we had to be a 100% remote company. So we decided to become a remote company, 100% of remote company. And even after the pandemic ended, we still didn't have an office. We were still operating, remotely from our own, houses or co-working spaces, from different parts of the country and from other places as well. And then, so even until now, after 4 years or so, we've still maintained the 100% remote working style. It's still working for us, even though the number of personnel has grown. We're now almost 100 people, probably around 60 plus full-timers, and the rest are other contributors. We're still 100% remote, and we have employees from other nationalities as well. So that's working for us until now. I'm not sure, until when, but it's still working for us now. And the plus side is that we can actually hire good people from, other parts of the world. We're not constrained by the location, for example. Obviously, there are challenges, but it's been working for us since we started. Another challenge would be, getting the word out on about Pandai, because with limited resources. Obviously, we cannot, we don't have the capacity to go on, mainstream media or Brazilian TV, for example, right? Or we are not in the first couple of years, we're not in the newspapers, on the TV, on the radio, because we don't have the budget for outdoor billboards, for example. So in the first year, we were focusing more on the product side of things. Developing a good product. And then in the second year, we started doing, all the free stuff like social media, some, limited budget ads here and there, all online stuff. But in the second year, we started getting, approached by investors actually. So we bootstrapped our way in the first year with the limited budget that we had. But in the second year, we were approached by investors. And even though I've run, another entity before, but I've never dealt with investors before. So that was actually the first time, the second year of Pandai. And when investors came, we secured our first ever investment. from 500 Global, which is a global fund, but has a regional presence in South Asia as well. And then we got into Y Combinator, a prestigious startup as a program in Silicon Valley. So very, very lucky to get into that. Learn a lot, not only about the company, but the company side of things, but how to develop, product, grow a community around it as well. So along the way, we've gotten other investments from around the world, from US, from Europe, from Asia as well, including from one of the most prominent universities in the world, Harvard University. So we're not an alumni of Harvard at all. So we don't know anyone there, but they approached us saying, Pandai is interesting. Can they invest? So we accepted the investment. So they're now a small part of Pandai as well. So I believe we've been lucky in many ways throughout our journey. We've gotten a lot of help, not only for investors, but from people around us, educators, technology developers, publishers, universities, and the government as well in general. So it has been challenging, especially the first couple of years, but now the company is quite stable, but now we are facing other types of challenges. So about growing even faster, improving the product, and that kind of thing. It has been a fun journey. I wake up every morning feeling excited still about what we do, and hopefully continue to grow. So that's some of the challenges we face. But like I said, it's not just us, facing the challenges alone. We've gotten a lot of help, luckily, from all the people around us as well.
Okay, let me complement the question. You mentioned you had a very rapid growth since the company started. Did this bring also technical challenge, or was technology stable enough to grow as quickly as your company?
Okay. We the co-founders and I, luckily, we have technology background. So obviously my CTO, my partner Akmal, he's the tech wizard in the company. So he's the one who's on top of everything. But we're lucky because the founders have technology background. I studied engineering, and most of us are from that technical background. And before we started Pandai, we actually had a software house, a small IT business that does custom development for other people. So it has been running for quite some time, together with the non-tech education company that I mentioned before. Even though we had a technology company, the education side, I think, has always been non-tech. And the technology company that we had, the software house that we had, have always been developing something for other people. Right, we get the requirement, and then we develop for 3 months, 6 months, whatever, and then we hand over to the client. Right, we started off with individual clients, and then it became small businesses, organization. Now the clients are somewhat bigger. Right, so we have the experience of building stuff before, apps or website or system before, but they were always other people's ideas. Right, we've never built something for our own usage. Right, and because that's the easiest way, you develop something for other people, where people will pay deposit first upfront, and then you only develop, and then you hand over, they pay the rest. Right, and then we maintain that, and we get some payment. Whereas with development product, obviously it will take some time before you get the traction, the paying customers, and all that. Right, so that's why when we had the software house, we have always been building something for other people so that we get the money quickly. So we have always retained the expertise because we never outsourced them. We did everything ourselves. Even the first 3 years of that software house, we did everything ourselves before hiring the first ever staff in the third year, and then it grew from there. So that entity is still running until now. So we know somewhat how to build a good product, but obviously it's totally different building something for other people based on a requirement, and then building something on your own that you really want to do well, and it changes over time. So I guess among the challenges for us is that there are multiple platforms. For example, Pandai is not only on the web, it's on iOS, it's on Android, now it's on Huawei as well. So they are all different platforms. Every time you introduce a feature here, you have to develop something similar on another platform, right? Because it's a native app across all each of the platforms, right? So that's a challenge for us as well. Another challenge would be to ensure that it's very, very scalable as well, because now we have 1 million users from many countries using Pandai. That's another challenge as well in terms of scaling it, structuring it in such a way that it can grow with time. And along the way, we've gotten a lot of help from other technology providers as well. For example, we've gotten credits from AWS or from Microsoft, for example. And recently, when the Microsoft CEO and Chairman Satya Nadella came over to the country a few months ago, he came to the country for just one day. And then in the morning, he met the Prime Minister of the country. And then a couple hours after that, he actually met Pandai in a closed session. So it was a surprise for us. Microsoft team actually arranged that for us. So we actually got to meet him personally, talk to him, very sharp guy, talking about Pandai and all this. With Microsoft help, they also given us a lot of help, not just the credits on to use Azure, but also other AI tools, and they provided their teams to help optimize some of the things that we do. And on top of that, not just on the technology side, but also on the going on the ground, visiting schools and all this. Because, for example, Microsoft also have their education side of things as well. Similarly with Google as well, Google for Education, they also have program with teachers and all that. And every time they have such programs, they involve us as well. So along the way, like I said, we've gotten a lot of help technologically as well. So it has been quite an okay journey. I would think the challenge is more on the education side, to be honest, because even though we're an ed tech, right? If you talk to the students, right, the students care about the education more, much more than the technology. So I'll give you an analogy. If you go to school, right, the students, right, they would rather pay for a poorly, printed or a piece of paper with low quality ink and with as long as the content past year's question or hotspot question and things like that, rather than something which is super sophisticated with bells and whistles from say another country that does not meet the curriculum, right? So the students actually care more about the content rather than the technology. Yeah. So I would think the education side of things actually pose a bigger challenge for us, especially in the beginning when we first started. We had to create our own content, right? Like the quizzes, the tests, the flashcards, the explanation, the graphics, and all that. So we work with a few hundred people actually, ex-publishers, teachers, even real publishers as well, to work with us. But now we own 100% of the content, so we are not at risk of anyone, stopping a licensing deal with us suddenly, right, or we cannot use their content anymore and things like that. So right now, 100% of the content is ours, but still now we were working on the content side of things still. Now with AI, it gets easier, to be honest. When we first started, everything was done manually. We had to create the content, the graphic, the multiple choice option, the explanation, the grading, and all that manually. But now it's more AI generated but human moderated content. So with AI, it makes it much faster now. But so obviously, quality is important, and all teachers or parents actually care about that side of things more than the technology.
Very interesting to hear that. Vamos agora para breve intervalo e já continuamos nossa conversa com Khairul Anwar, diretamente desde a Malásia.
A Revista Nacional de Tecnologia da Informação é o veículo de comunicação oficial do setor de tecnologia da informação do Brasil. Publicada regularmente no formato atual desde 2005, ela está disponível no formato impresso e digital, cumprindo seu relevante papel de informar, inspirar e engajar. Para saber mais, consulte o link ou o QR Code que está na tela.
Estamos de volta e vamos para a nossa próxima pergunta para o nosso convidado de hoje. I'd like now to go into the specific story of your involvement with associations. We effectively met as part of the WITSA network. You are a member of the Malaysian Association. We are related to CESPRO, which is the Brazilian member of WITSA. So I'd like you to tell us how it was that you decided to enter WITSA's World Cup, for how long you have been involved at PICOM, which is the Malaysian WITSA member, and if you have had any other roles there, if you have had some involvement with other associations. I know normally people who go into this kind of work don't stop doing it at one place. So I think this is another huge question for you to tell us a lot of stories, but I think this is very interesting to tell the world how it was that you got to the top of WITSA's World Cup.
All right. All right. Yeah. So yeah, we didn't expect, to be honest, to win the WITSA World Cup, even in the country, in Malaysia, let alone winning the whole thing globally, right? So PCOM, like you mentioned, PCOM is the National ICT Association of Malaysia. So it has been around for almost 40 years, actually. So PCOM has been doing a good job of gathering, the people from ICT companies together, become a voice to help, the government as well to create initiative to create awareness about, digital technologies and offerings, and get everyone together to discuss, the future of all the ICT industries moving forward in the country. To be honest with you, I have not been an active member of PCOM at all. Obviously, PCOM is very, very popular here in the country. They run, many popular events, and they have many members from, all the biggest companies in the country. But even though I have attended the programs and events before by PCOM, but I'm not an active member of the association, unfortunately, and I don't play any additional role in the association. So primarily because I'm busy with Pandai and my businesses, so I'm just participating in the events and the programs and all. But for WITSA specifically, Pandai was actually nominated by a government agency to participate into WITSA. So PCOM actually reach out to many government agencies, startup bodies and other entrepreneurial agencies to nominate startups into this WITSA World Cup edition in the country. So we were nominated into the program, the competition, and then we went through the process. We were selected as among the 7 finalists in the country, and obviously we had to pitch. It was held at PCOM. There were 7 of us. We were pitching, answering the judges' question and all, and we emerged as the champion in the country out of the finalists. Obviously, there are a lot more nominees. And then, because we won the Malaysian edition, we got the opportunity to actually represent the country to the global edition. So the top 2 from Malaysia, Pandai, and another biotech startup called Entomal. Both of us actually represented the country to participate in the WITSA World Cup, the global edition that was held in Armenia actually a couple of months ago. So so in Armenia, when we were there, we just thought that we just participate, meet people, the other winners from other countries, all the great startups from other parts of the world and learn from them, right? And the way the WITSA World Cup is organized is very, very different from the other pitching competition that we faced before in the country. We've never actually participated a global edition like this before, but in the country, usually when there's a pitching competition for startup, you only pitch one or twice, right? Like even if there are like 30 participants, everyone pitch once, and then you select the winner, or at most twice, right? One in the preliminaries, one in the final. But in the way the WITSA World Cup was organized is a bit different. They mimic the football World Cup, and because of that, there were groups, right? We were actually in the Pool D, so group number 4, Pool D, and then together with a few other, great startup from other parts of the world. And when we pitched in the group, we won the group, and because we won Pool D, we had to go head to head against the runner-up of Pool C. So it's a one-to-one competition, head to head. So one startup against another startup, right? So and then in the quarterfinal, we were up against a robotic company from Egypt, and then the startup is actually doing very well. They have presence in the Middle East and a few other countries as well. But for some reason, we won that, and at the semifinal, we were up against a Greek company, a huge company doing technology with regards to environment. They also have presence in multiple countries. And after winning that, we were in the finals. And, after winning the finals, we emerged as the World Cup champion. So that was totally unexpected, to be honest. Something that we didn't expect. We just wanted to go there and learn from other people and see, what's happening in other parts of the world, try to get inspiration from other founders, which we did also along the way. But winning it is really truly an unexpected thing for us. It's a bonus. And you were asking about my involvement in other associations as well. Yes, there are other associations that I'm part of. For example, the National ICT Entrepreneurs Association, which is a relatively new association that I'm part of. And there's also the National STEM Association of Malaysia. STEM, STEM, stand for Science, Technology, Engineering and Math. So National STEM Association I'm part of. There's also the Malaysian Computational Thinking Association that I'm the president of at the moment. And there are a few other educational association and communities that I'm part of as well. So, however, because of my involvement in Pandai and my businesses, I am not really, an active member of any of the association that I mentioned. I am a proud member of all of them, but unfortunately, I am focusing most of my capacity growing Pandai and my business at the moment. So hopefully in the future, once I'm done with all my businesses, I can become more active in other sessions. And it's something that I like to do as well. Not only because, I get to learn, but I get to meet, other people from other walks of life as well, from other industries, from other organizations. And that's something that I like to do as well. And along the way, actually, through WITSA World Cup, we realized that through entering this kind of programs, it has given us a lot of not only awareness, but also exposure and also opportunities that we would have never thought out of before. Because, for example, here I am on a Brazilian media talking to Ariante ITV. And I've been maintaining contact with the other participants as well, and I'm looking forward to attend the future WITSA event as well. So hopefully, we'll continue to grow, and we'll get other opportunities that come our way indirectly. And being a small entity like Pandai is, we need all the help we can get. So any kind of help is useful. So anyone listening to this, if you're, know of any ways to help Pandai, reach out to me, reach out to Pandai. Happy to hear from all of you.
Okay, so I understand this was your first time at the WITSA World Congress.
Yeah, it is, and it's an eye opener because WITSA World Cup is just one of the many programs happening at World Congress of Information Technology, WCIT. So it's a huge event. There are multiple, things going on at the same time, speakers, panel session, and there's also exhibitions going on. So WITSA World Cup is just one of them. So when we were there, we could listen to other speakers, meet other people as well. Saw a lot of innovation from around the world. So it's something very, very interesting. So hopefully I can get the opportunity to join the future WCIT events.
E vamos agora para mais um rápido intervalo para continuar a conversa com Khairul diretamente desde a Malásia, logo em seguida.
Te convidamos a seguir e acompanhar regularmente o perfil da Revista Nacional da Tecnologia da Informação no Instagram. Neste perfil, disponibilizamos avisos para as notícias publicadas no portal, alertas para a transmissão dos programas da RNT e TV, e noticiamos o lançamento de cada nova edição da revista. Por isso, acesse agora mesmo @Revista Nacional da TI no Instagram e saiba de tudo isso em primeira mão.
Estamos de volta e vamos de imediato para a nossa próxima pergunta. So, you just told us the story how you managed to win WITSA Startup World Cup, and I'd like now to ask you, looking at it afterwards, what does it really mean for you, for your team, for the professionals that work together with you, and how much, in fact, can you leverage this achievement in order to bring Pandai to the next step in its growth?
All right. So, like I said, we've gotten a lot of awareness, exposure through this, and gotten a lot of other help as well. But another thing that I like about this kind of program is that when we were pitching, right, there are multiple stages of pitching, right, and we've gotten different set of judges each time. And every time we pitch, we get different type of question, different feedback, different input and suggestion from the judges, from the mentors as well. So it forced us to rethink about some aspects of our business, something that we probably didn't think of before, based on the question that we were posed by the judges from the preliminary round up until the final as well. So that's something which is very, very useful, because these judges, actually came from all over the world, and they are very prominent people. Some of them are investors, business founders, and other community leaders as well. So we learn a lot from the interaction, with the judges. And at the same time, winning this World Cup actually gave us the confidence as well. We not only for me myself, but the whole team. When I was in Armenia, right, waiting for the result, right, I was on stage, together with the other participants before they announced the winner. It was a surprise even till then. All the team members, my team members in the country, right, from Malaysia and in Southeast Asia, were all, messaging me, WhatsApping me, asking the result, right. They couldn't wait, even though it's already late in the evening, almost 10, 11 p.m. at the time. They they were keen on knowing the result, right? So I had to play down their expectation. I said that it's okay if we don't win, right? But they were eager to know the result, the news, and all this. And after winning it, I announced in the group, and everyone was so excited. So it created, a buzz in the company. Give us a lot of confidence. Sort of like a stamp of approval on the things that we've been up to for some time, saying that yes, even though we're a Malaysian company serving the students in Malaysia and neighboring countries, but we are able to get recognition from worldwide, right, up against other very very good companies internationally as well. And apart from giving us the boost in Pandai, but obviously winning this also give a lot of good actually what's the word? Let me think. Okay. Apart from giving us the boost in Pandai, winning WITSA World Cup also actually created a lot of buzz in the startup scene in the country. So everyone actually got to know about this, and not only the startup, but the government agencies revolving around, helping entrepreneurs amplify the story again and again. So it's not really about us alone, but it showcased that Malaysian companies, founded by local Malaysian founders, are able to actually compete at the international stage as well. So that's something that we're proud of, and it's not often that a Malaysian company can actually win something globally, right? So it created a huge news in the country, and everyone was sharing this, and I guess it created some sort of success stories for other people to see that it is possible. So create the belief in them as well. And I guess what we need in the country as well, it's not only the talent side of things. Some people complain that, okay, we need talent, we need government support, we need investment and all that. I think personally in the country, we do already have all those. We do have the talent, we have investment coming in, we have governmental support, we have the ease of doing business in the country and all that. What we really need, I believe, is more success story. We need more success story. In Malaysia, there are not many unicorns yet. We only have our first couple of unicorns recently. So there are not many, billion-dollar companies yet in the country. There are not many, companies or startups that have gone on to, expand to multiple countries. So not many examples yet. So I believe we need more success stories, and to give the inspiration to all the startups in the country as well. It's the same with education, actually. In the past, through my previous entity, sometimes we go on the ground, do programs, right? Sometimes we go to a very remote village. So, for example, we go to a small village where no one from the village has ever gone to university, right? Because it's a very rural area, and the kids there do not really study, or they only studied up to high school. If we only help one student, right? For example, we help one girl to get into university, right? Just one girl out of the whole village to get into university, the first time ever, right? Even if we only help one girl and that's it, right after that, what we've seen is that a year or two after that, quickly, within a short period of time, suddenly the sibling could get into university. Suddenly the cousin could get into university. The neighbors could get into university. Other people around the girl will also get into university. And the reason, because we help everyone else as well. We only help the girl, right? But because the others see that, oh, if that girl can do it, I can too, right? So it breaks the glass ceiling, or it opens the mind that it is actually possible. So I guess it's the same in the startup scene as well here in the country. We need more success stories, and being the winner of the WITSA World Cup actually gave us the opportunity to share this with other people around us as well, with our friends and other fellow founders as well. So that's something that we like about winning WITSA World Cup, and hopefully there are more winners from this part of the world, and together we can do well, together with other businesses as well.
Okay, great thoughts. Another question I'd like to ask you, looking into the success you had at the World Cup, is in regards to the company preparation, right? If you would have to start again at all of this process, is there something what you have learned, some lessons you got along the way that would make you decide to do something different? Would you try to be in other places around the globe before going to WITSA World Cup? And at the same time, from all what you have learned, if you would be able to give some advice to other startups around the world who would like to participate in future edition of WITSA's World Cup, what advice would you give to them?
All right. I'm not sure whether I'm at a position to give advice, but from my experience, yes, if you're considering, joining WITSA World Cup, I would highly encourage you to do so. It's a fantastic program. Even though it's a competition, ultimately there'll be one, winner at the end. But all the participants actually gain a lot of, things from the experience, and it's something that I believe you should try to join. And if you're joining with World Cup, treat it as a learning journey, and try to improve your pitch every single time. So like I said, the difference between WITSA World Cup and other or most other competitions is the fact that you get to pitch multiple times, even beginning in your country, and then at the global edition, you pitch multiple times from the preliminary round until the final. So you get actually a lot of opportunity to improve your pitch along the way. And what I've seen is that because it's a organization that revolves around technology, WITSA. So it's important to highlight the product side of things, the technology that you're using, the impact as well, the team, and the big ambition behind starting your startup as well. So obviously, there's very limited time to do so, right, in a short pitch. But crafting a story around those few points would be very, very, useful. And I believe that's the way you create a winning pitch. And I'm not sure whether in your country there's if you're watching this from other countries, in your country you have a local edition of the WITSA World Cup or not. But even if there's no local edition, you can reach out to WITSA directly, and I'm sure they'll be more than happy to help you somehow. So if you're watching this, make sure you try to join WITSA World Cup, try to participate, and I'm sure you gain a lot through the experience. So all the best to you. Hopefully, I'll see you at the future WITSA World Cup editions.
Okay, Khairul, thank you very much for participating in this RNTI TV program. A pleasure to know your story, to know your personal history, and I wish you a lot of further success.
Thank you, Roberto. Thank you to RNTI TV as well. Like I said, I could never imagine being interviewed in Brazilian media like this. But it's thank you for having me. And all the best to you, Roberto, as well.
Thank you. E muito obrigado especialmente a você que assiste a RNTI TV. Ela é feita para você. Por isso, te convidamos a que nos siga nas redes sociais. Temos presença no LinkedIn, no Instagram e no Facebook. E, em especial, te convido a se manter inscrito em nosso canal no YouTube, para assim poder ativar as notificações e acompanhar os nossos próximos programas, sempre disponibilizados na seção Próximas Transmissões ao Vivo. Muitíssimo obrigado, fique atento e até o próximo programa.